Now let's talk about updating your marketing message. Okay, so now we know the numbers. From doing the worksheets, we can reverse engineer this so we know how many leads we need to get to reach the revenue goal. So now we need to update our marketing message to portray our fence company services in the best way, to really speak to our local area. You know, are you in a rural area where you're doing more farm fencing? Are you in an upscale neighborhood where it's like, you know, cedar and redwood fences and wrought iron, custom wood, things like that? So our message really needs to speak to our audience locally. And so we have here some basic fundamentals. We have our message, which is going to be our ad copy / offer, which we can put this on our website, our Facebook page. We have our audience and our targeting. So who will we market to? And we're going to drill down on this. So this is more clear. We're going to drill down on what your message is going to be, on who your target audience is going to be, and then media. So we have message, market, media. What platforms will we use? How are we going to reach these people with our message? Okay, so we're going to develop our message. We're going to market it to the right audience. And how are we going to market it to the right audience? Using the right platform. And by platform, I mean search engine optimization on Google, or Facebook ads, or paid ads on Google, and so on. So who is your ideal customer? In your worksheets, you have this little guy, Albert Avatar. And this is an exercise that shouldn't take you too long. You know, you might want to spend a good 20, 30 minutes on this. Really think about your local area and who you serve. What do they do? How do they spend their week? What do they do outside of work? Where do they get their news? You know, what people do in Florida, where I live, is very different from what people do in New York or Wyoming, right? So we need to really, the message is going to be different. We're going to be speaking to different people based on where we live. How much money do they make out there? How do they feel about their job? Really drill down and pick apart the customers that you've served, or if you're new, think about who you're going to serve, and really pick apart who they are and write it down. That's your customer avatar. And you can put anything in here, like we're talking demographics, right? So are they married? Are they divorced? Ethnicity. All these things need to be factored in. So, for instance, in Florida, we have huge sections of like Tampa and Orlando and Miami where it's very Latin. And so fence companies really need to be speaking to that audience, and even putting in Spanish written web pages to speak to them in Espanol. You know, that's how you really gain the confidence of your audience, is if you're in a local area like that where there's huge pockets of certain ethnicities, you know, hundreds of thousands, then you need to really speak to them in that way. So here's some ideas for your customer avatar. Are they a homeowner? In most cases, it's going to be yes, right? Unless you're doing some commercial, then you want to factor that in as well. What's their age? Male, female, married with kids, head of household. Are they family oriented? Are they handy, not handy? Are they the type of people that, normally would want to install a fence themselves? And then what are their pains and frustrations? Okay, so why do they want to buy a fence in most cases where you live? Is their existing fence in disarray? What's going on? Is it common that they call a fence company and no one returns their call? Are the fence companies late to get out there? Are the fence companies normally breaking sprinklers when they come out? We want to speak to their pains, frustrations, their worries. You want to write all this down. Are they tired of dealing with nosy neighbors? Maybe they need to sell their house and the fence doesn't look good, so they need to repair it. So some common fears and implications, being ripped off or overcharged for their fence, paying too much for something they could have gotten elsewhere, damaged by faulty workmanship. Is the fence going to be sagging in a couple months? The inconvenience of trying to coordinate with the fence contractor to be there when they're there. Broken sprinklers, water lines underground, cables. So what are their goals and desires? Well, they want to get their fence fixed. They want to have the issue behind them. If they got an old fence, they want it replaced. And then we've got the other things, part of human nature, taking care of their family, more income, money, wealth, live in a nicer home, status, and so on. So the bottom line is this: if you can see Joe Jones through Joe Jones' eyes, then you can sell what Joe Jones buys. Remember that. You always want to put yourself in the buyer's shoes, right? See things from their perspective. So when you're putting together your message, imagine that it's a stranger looking up you and your business for the first time. Can they put a face with a name? If they look you up, are you on the website? Are there any images of you or your team? Or is it just generic and they have no idea who it is they're going to be dealing with? So let's craft your message. So your message. Why should someone choose to do business with your fence company versus the competition? What is your big selling point? What's your big promise? And I'll throw some ideas out for you, okay? Family owned and operated. Another one could be that you have a 98% customer satisfaction rate with all new installs for the past 3 years. Start thinking like this. The leader in cedar wood fences, or we install the most wood fences in the Tri-County area or something like that. So you need to think about why someone would choose you versus the competition and write that down. Now, as time goes by, and say you've been in business 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, you know this. You may want to refine it a bit, but you already know it. If you're just starting out, you need to think of something that you can set yourself apart with. Like starting out, you might want to say something like special attention to detail, call and get a live person, the owner answers the phone. Depending on what stage you're at in your business, that's going to vary. owners out on the job site for each installation. So you can play it both ways. If you're just starting out, you can use things like that. If you've been in business for 50, 60 years, you can use that. You know, most established fence company in the area, 50 years in business, 60 years in business. What benefits do you offer that your target customer avatar will resonate with? Okay, so after you've done your customer avatar, what benefits can you offer them? Don't say best price. You know, I understand that some of you are high volume sellers and price is always a factor, but you don't always need to go there. So benefits could be something like a lifetime craftsmanship guarantee, or you could do something like 10% off new fence installations, or let's see what else works well. A free anti-rot package. You could do something like that. So here's some messaging that works. We've noticed in our ads on the websites, what converts better is using words like fast service, 10% off installations, guaranteed sprinkler repair, lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Those are some buzzwords that seem to really work well to help drive calls. Another thing is straightforward pricing or upfront pricing, satisfaction guaranteed, trustworthy installers, trusted installers, or experienced installers. Those all work well. So you can make the case. Fast same-day service, money-saving offers, clean-cut professional installers will leave your yard looking cleaner than they found it. Great service guaranteed. That's everything, you know, in terms of a message. You want to be focusing on that message.